Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool arcade repair video for you today. We have bought at an auction years ago this old school Silver Strike arcade game here. And we have sold most of our other ones. We're down to, we've only got a couple of them left, and this is one of them. And so we brought this thing in out of storage. As you can see, it's a little rough. But it is a dedicated, original Silver Strike bowling, which they haven't changed the marquee, so I imagine it's probably the first year, which is fine because it's just as fun as the other ones, really, and they sell as well. But the reason we haven't fixed it yet is because there's no computer. The Nighthawk, Incredible Technologies Nighthawk system is missing out of it. So we are going to make one. I don't have the case or anything, but we're going to try to see if we can cobble one together using off-the-shelf parts. Now, usually that will not work unless you have the in-out board, which is used to interface the controls and everything to the computer, and unless you have the security dongle. So the security dongle is right there, still installed in the cabinet, and then the in-out board is up on the front. Since this is a dedicated one, it's a little bit different than the the Golden Tee cabinets. They look the same. The easiest way to tell them apart, obviously, is the blue sides. But they also, the Golden Tee one has a drawer that slides out that the board is mounted on, but these don't. They have a different setup. There's a board in the back that the computer mounts to, and they don't need the drawer in the front. So it has a Neotech NT500 monitor in it that was basically coming on and clicking and making a bunch of noise and things. We replaced all the capacitors on it, and we now have it up and running, but we still don't have a computer. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut a piece of wood that'll fit in here, and then I'm going to take the wood, and without a computer case, we're just going to mount the components on the wood and see if we can make our own case that will, or our own motherboard, basically mounted on a board, and see if we can get the thing up and running by doing that. So we'll cut that board, and then we'll put it on the desk, and we'll start putting pieces together on it. Okay, folks, so we cut a piece of wood. This one's 10 by 20, Joe?
Yep.
10 by 20, right? And we have a we bought a bunch of the motherboards off of somebody that was parting out a bunch of the older machines because they had upgraded them all. But what the motherboard is, it's an off-the-shelf motherboard on these Nighthawks. And these original ones, D865 GLC. This one is dusty. I don't know how great that is. Well, I don't know, but we'll see. So I'm going to mount it with just some screws to this piece of wood, and it's all going to be open frame for lots of cooling, right? But it's got a nice big fan on the CPU, of course. It needs RAM, needs a video card. This is going to be the back of the, basically we're just trying to recreate the thing without the case. And then we'll have to watch and make sure it doesn't get hot. But I guess the way the case worked before was it took the hot air off of the board, or out off the inside of the case, and blew it out into the cabinet. And there's no exhaust fan on the cabinet. So what we're doing is getting rid of the case so the hot air is in the cabinet, just like when it has the fan. So I think it'll be all right, but we'll see. The video card on the original Silver Strikes was an MSI FX 5200. So we're going to pop that bad boy in there. New old stock. What do you think about that? So there's our video card. And we need a power supply for here. And then there's some we need to see about the audio. We're going to try something for the audio. Usually in a Nighthawk, on this side of the board, there is of the computer, there is a little in-out board with audio and power connectors, but we don't have that board. But all it does is just connect things, so it doesn't actually do anything. So we're going to see, I looked up the manual for this motherboard, and it says that if you put jumpers on a Nighthawk, usually there is a ribbon cable that runs from here over to that little board that I'm talking about, but we don't have the board. So apparently if you put jumpers on 5 and 6 and 9 and 10, pin 5 and 6 and pin 9 and 10, it makes it send the audio out the back plug here. So the audio comes from either here or hopefully here, and then goes up to the in-out board where it's amplified and everything. So we're trying to, since we don't have the ribbon cable and we don't have the little board, we're trying to just use the jack. The other thing is you have to get power up to the in-out board, and that little board has a little power connector, and there's a special little harness. I think the harness is in it, but we're going to make our own so that we can just plug it up to the power supply that we're going to have sitting here. So we'll see if all that works. I believe it will. So I'll mount this, and we'll mount the power supply, and I'll mount the video card. Oh, you know what? I didn't think about that. Without the case, we don't have anything to hold the video card in place. Damn. I'll have to think of something. Alright, people, I want you to look at this beautiful crap we have here. What do you think? Isn't this going to be wonderful? So we've got the power supply mounted with plumber's strap. Very useful stuff if you don't have any. You can strap down all kinds of crap with this. And then we put a couple little extra screws to hold it in place really good. It's in, now you can get little L brackets, but what fun would that be? And I believe, not certain, but I believe that fan will exhaust more heat from here and blow it this way, which might, at least have a draft going over the board. That's kind of where it would be mounted in the case that we don't have. The video card is pretty steady just because it's touching the board down here. It slides by it like it does on kind of a case. But we might have to rig something up to get it a little more steady because it'll move a little bit if you mess with it. Okay, so we're going to put some RAM in it and see if this board even works. This motherboard's so old it may not even work. They've replaced some of the capacitors at some point, so we'll see. Okay, folks, so it came right up. I put 512 megabytes of RAM in it, which is very low, but originally they had 256, so I doubled the RAM. The RAM has been doubled, and look, I finally got it to work in dual channel dynamic page mode. Everybody's been telling me to do that on all the other videos, but I finally pulled it off. So this board, we bought these tested working from a guy, so like they were in Silver Strikes that they updated to Silver Strike Live, which uses a different motherboard, so they had pulled working motherboards out of them, put those back in. So we've got it at least trying to do its thing. So the next thing we're going to need is a hard drive. I've ordered some solid state drives, but I haven't got them in yet. But I do have. I think I've already got a regular one that's a regular hard drive that's burnt. So I'll go see if I can find that. I found my hard drive, plugged it up. Let's see what she's doing. Looks like it's trying. Of course, it won't boot all the way because it doesn't have the dongle plugged in or the in-out board. They're in the cabinet. It is blowing cool air out of the inside of the power supply. See if I can feel any heat. I don't feel any heat on anything. Must fix that problem. Joey's looking at me with a not necessarily believing, convinced look. Under extreme circumstances, this check can take up to a half hour to complete. Please be patient. They don't even know I'm filming a video. I can't film this for a half hour, people. All right, I'll come back when it gets farther along. All right, folks, it only took about 10 minutes, and now we are up at the disconnected USB in-out board is being detected. Please turn game off, blah, blah, blah. So we got to plug in the dongle and the in-out board, which are in the cabinet. So The next thing we're going to have to do, though, is I need to make a power adapter to power the in-out board off of this power supply. So let's look at that. Okay, so I did the audio first because it's so easy. I believe, according to the manual, see how I put a jumper on pins 5 and 6 and 9 and 10? That just makes it where it sends the audio back out the rear. That's the front panel audio connector. So by doing that, I believe I can just plug an audio cable in here. Now these are the ones that were in it. It's just a regular set of RCA cables, because on that little board that mounts over here in the Nighthawk, it has RCA outputs. So we're getting away with that, and we're doing away with that, and we're using a regular 3.5 cable in the green to RCA. So this is what the in-out board looks like, or something similar. There's about 3 different ones. And so these will run up the cabinet, plug in here, and that's how we get our audio to the in-out board. The video to the in-out board comes through a VGA cable, comes up and attaches here, and the reason they do that is so that you can use different resolutions on the monitor. This in-out board converts it to different resolutions. So we have to power the in-out board, and it needs 5 and 12, and it gets its power on this little jack here. It's called a ATX Mini Junior jack, right? So the original harness that's in it is like this. Oh, wrong one. It's like this. This plugs into that, right? And then on the other end, it snakes through the cabinet. And this plugs into that little board I'm talking about. On the back of it, an IDE, just a regular 4-pin power connector, plugs into it. And all that board does is just reroute it to a different connector, right? So I don't have that little board. So what I have done is I've bought an extender so I can plug this in. I always get the pins crooked in there. Look at that. They're never the right size. So I can plug this in to my power supply, which gives me power here, and then I cut this end off and put one of these bad boys on there, and I've got my own cable. So that should do it. So I'll rig up the cable, and then we're ready to install it in the cabinet and see what happens. Okay, folks, so this is what we ended up with. We have it in the back of the machine. And we got out the vacuum cleaner, and now it's a clean machine. Sorry, folks, I can't resist. Can't resist saying that. So we left it on for a while in the back room, and it didn't overheat or anything. Everything looked cool. And now we've mounted it in the cabinet, so we're going to turn it on and see if it all does its thing, and if anything gets hot. I don't believe it will. The video card we were able to zip tie to the support under it on the motherboard. Not the best solution, but between that and the cable being zip tied over here, it kind of like holds it pretty rigid where it doesn't move much. And with the board, with the back on it, everything should be cool. Now you may be thinking, you know, without a case, you're going to have to worry about dust. Well, maybe, but you know, this is not like the home computer world. This is the arcade game world, and in the arcade game world, all of these are like this. So like a Pac-Man, there's no cage around that. They get dust on them, right? Donkey Kong, oh, you know, some of those do have cages, but it's not the same thing. Like Donkey Kong doesn't, though. Donkey Kong doesn't have a cage. And so you might say, yeah, but Ron, a PC board, that's different. Well, Atari's Area 51 was a PC board and there was no cage. So, you know, I don't really see the problem with it. That's all I'm saying. So we'll watch it and make sure everything's cool, but I think everything is going to be cool. I burnt a new hard drive. I'm waiting on some solid state drives. I'm gonna start doing solid state drives on them because the price on a solid state drive has gotten down now where it's like $20. This is an 80 gig, so you need something 80 gig or maybe a little bit bigger for Silver Strike. You could probably go in and mess with it and get it where it'll burn on a smaller one, but you can now get like 120 gig solid state drives for like $25. So we're going to try that maybe on our next one. What do you think? I put in 2 sticks of RAM. Like I said, it's 512K or 512 megabyte or whatever you saw it earlier. That should be enough to make it run nice and smooth because it had 256 from the factory. And now it's to the point where those are so cheap they're like $1 each, so it's no big deal. Since we don't have another fan, we've got this one and the CPU fan, of course, but we don't have another fan mounted beside it. The computer doesn't like that because it thinks it's still in the case and it wants another fan on it. So what we've done is, this is a little trick, okay? I'm going to show you a trick, and you're all going to say, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. Look, you see what we're doing here. I don't think it's an issue because there's no case anymore. There's not going to be as much heat, people. But basically, the fan, it gets the tack signal. And so what you can do, so the CPU is throwing up an error because it doesn't see a tack signal on that fan because there's no fan installed. Which, we could install one, but what the hell is it going to, I don't think it's going to do anything. If I put an exhaust fan right here, is it really going to, I don't think it's going to help. But it's wanting the tack signal. So what I did was I just spliced into the tack signal off this one, which is going to stay on there because you definitely need a cooler on the CPU. And I just ran it over to the tack signal. The tack line on that fan, the computer thinks both fans are plugged in, everything's cool. So there you go. New video card. The motherboard seems to work fine. There's been some of the caps have been replaced. So I guess the operator at some point had to replace those because, they act up after a while. We usually sell these for like home use. These aren't usually on all day long, every day for 8 years like they were when they first came out, So we've got our power extension cable done. The audio. We did the jumpers on the audio, and we have it just plugged in to the back panel, so we'll see if that's all cool. We plugged the USB stuff back in, which means the in-out board is plugged in via USB. I think one of these is the card reader on the front, if it's still on there, and then one of them is this security dongle. So we're ready to turn it on and see if it boots up. We also, earlier, we rebuilt the monitor, got it all cleaned up and everything. So let's see what happens, people. I'll go hit the lights so we can see it a little better. Incredible technologies, people. Lilo. See if I can get it to focus a little better for you. We'll turn off our autofocus. Boy, it's booting up quick. So the main reason I'm doing this is for the audio, because I hear audio. Software, hardware, and CID key code all matches up. Yeah, we got audio. So that case, the main thing that you're missing, that's hard to get, is that little board, that splits the power and the audio to send it up to the in-out board. There's a hum in the audio, but it's like that in all of them. It has something to do with the in-out board. All the Silver Strikes hum like that. So it's on free play. Let's see if we can.
Welcome to Silver Strike Ball.
Oh, let me go on the test.
Announcing today's game is Randy Peterson, holder of 13 career titles. Over to you, Randy.
Thanks, Matt. It's great.
Track volume, in-game volume. Yeah! Default stereo or mono? We've got stereo. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to play the Vegas mode. I'm going to show you the difference. So this is the original Silver Strike Bowling, and it's real easy to think, oh, well, I want the Silver Strike 2009. That's the newer one, right? But I'm going to show you why you don't want the Silver Strike 2009, why you want the original one if you can help it. Game mode, free play, skill level, normal, insert dollars. Quarter per slot. We did sound adjustments. Back. There's all kinds of system tests you can do, but we're not going to worry about that. Silver Strike settings. Player call schedule. Game audits. That might be interesting. Oh, you know, it won't be right, though, because it's a copy of the hard drive and all that. Lifetime money total $8,359. I don't know. I don't know if that would be for this game or this hard drive that I've got a copy of that I'm burning or what, you know. Okay, game options. Vegas bowling. On. This is why you want the original Silver Strike Bowling. Delay timeout, ball timeout for 4 balls. Game event info. Strike percentage 14%, spare percentage 27%, split percentage 12%. That's pretty crazy. I didn't know they kept track of that. Average game score is 106, so if I can beat 106, I'm above average. Oh, did it say no 300 games? Is that what it said? 300 games, 0. Okay. Reset leaderboards, ticket dispenser. ITNet settings, we're not on ITNet, so yeah, that's all not going to work. Okay, so we're going to play it, and we're going to do Vegas bowling. I don't know if I've done that on any of them, or I'm sure you can see it on other people's videos, but on the original Silver Strike Bowling, it had a mode called Vegas bowling. On the later versions, I don't know if it was on the next one or the third one, they took it off and made it where it was only available online, and the reason they did that was because it was considered gambling in certain states. So they actually had it as an online feature so that if you were in a state that it was illegal, when the game called in to be connected to the internet, it would turn off that feature. But on this original version, it's on the regular offline game.
Hello and welcome
So
to Silver Strike Bowling.
one player, but select 2 or more players for special Vegas mode, right?
13 career titles. Randy,
So we're going to do a single game.
Here we are at Victory Lane.
Vegas bowling. Players are dealt a card for every strike or spare. See who can get the highest hand. Okay, so I'm going to move you a little bit so I can use the trackball a little bit. Deal with it, people. So I'm a dude.
Hey, let's get started.
Okay, so I like to make it where it curves just a little bit. Not enough.
You got a 50-50 on that one.
50-50 on that one. Let's go straight with it since it's I don't have to pick up everything. Okay, so there's my spare,
Except 5 for the spare.
and I got a 6.
Walk away, enter your initials. Super. Let's see that spare again.
Yeah, let's see it. All right, so
Now that is a beautiful ball.
I'm the only one here, so I'm going to play Vegas bowling against my brother Donnie, who's not here. Now, if you haven't figured out my brother Donnie, he has a channel that we're promoting on our channel. It's literally my brother. I'm Ronnie, he's Donnie. And he does a lot of like small engine repair, farm stuff. He's got a.
Beginning frame 1.
He talked me into buying a mobile home that we've been working on. Oh, too much.
He'll take 7.
So he has a channel linked down below. We'll act like the second player is my brother, Donnie. What do you think about that? Let's see who wins.
Just enough speed for some pin action.
Now, I'm not going to throw it. I'm going to try playing as good as him. Yeah,
Congratulations.
he cheated.
Awesome. Here's that pickup one more time.
So my whole point is, if you get the original Silver Strike, you can play Vegas bowling. If you get the later ones, you can't put them online anymore, so you can't play Vegas
Let's see
bowling.
the score, shall we?
Cards left 50.
We're at the top of frame 2.
Okay.
This curve will give him some extra pin action.
Oh man, I'm missing it. I shouldn't be moving over probably. Okay.
On the street and
Uh-oh.
You will move on with 3 pins standing. Player up.
All right, let's see if Donnie's any better at the curve.
Oh, he gave a smooth delivery on that one.
Didn't quite get it.
Leaves a fast 8. That ball won't stay the course. There's the cherry picker.
There's the cherry picker.
Bowler 1, it's your turn. Nice, smooth delivery down the lane.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Sweet sound.
And I got the ace like Donnie has.
One more time. Let's look at that strike. That is great. Going into frame 3.
Oh,
He gets his first strike of the game. Wow, here's that great strike again. Killer, what a great shot.
he's almost as good as I am.
Here's how the game is progressing.
I'm beating him in the cards.
Ball 1, frame 4.
Okay.
Got a lot of revs on that ball.
Oh, not enough though.
Again, 70%. He's playing it real safe. Not too fast.
Missed it.
Not too slow. Staying positive is the key to turning things around.
That's
Player
true.
Ready to go. Revving it up.
Oh,
He gets a double.
I'm beating myself.
Let's see that incredible strike again. Wow, look at that. Let's recap the game.
Let's recap the game.
Bowler 1 takes the approach. Oh, he gave a smooth delivery on that one. That's 7. He could sure use a spare on this one.
I'm left-handed, so I'm hitting it with my left hand, and I'm making it pull a little bit to the right because of the way I'm hitting it. Really, it's your fault because the camera's in the way.
He's playing it real safe, not too fast.
But when I'm the second player, I keep doing better. Oh, come on.
Tremendous. One more time. Let's look at that strike. That is great. It's time to check the stats.
Look at this crap. He got a turkey, but it was really me that got a turkey. You know what I mean?
Let's see the start of a comeback.
Oh, yeah. Woo!
He has the crowd's attention now. Wow, here's that great strike again. Now that is a beautiful ball. He's got a four-bagger coming up.
All right. Now, if y'all don't bowl much, I am not a great bowler, but I've worked in a lot of bowling alleys on their arcade games, so I can tell you one of the beginner secrets of bowling. This is for beginners, not experts. If you're good, you already know this. Is the reason that you throw the ball curled like that is because if you hit it straight on,
You have at least one more in him.
you're going to get a split.
The line.
Now, I'm not an expert, obviously, right? And then on a bowling lane, I can't even do as good as I can on the video game. But if you hit it straight on, you hardly ever get a strike. You have to hit it to the side a little bit. You have to hit just a little off center to get it. And so if you can get it to curl, see how I went right through the middle? If you can get it to curl, the pins bounce different and the ball goes through some of the other pins. That's how you get a strike.
Player on the runway.
So you really want to hit it between the middle and the pin just to the left of it if you're going. The best way to hit it is slightly to the, like the way I'm bowling, is slightly to the left of the first pin. If you hit it slightly to the right, you can still get a strike, but you're better off if you cross the pin a little bit because it just drives them better.
He gave a smooth delivery on that one.
See, I hit it to the right of the pin, and it made it miss that one. If I would have been to the left of the pin, it would have pushed more of them that way and hit it. But whenever you've only got one, you want to try to just throw it straight.
Nice, smooth delivery down the lane. Get out of town. Ball one.
All right, so I want it to cross over the first pin. Too much. I said it's just a little bit to the left.
And is left with 3. He's a straight shooter.
All right.
He's getting some encouragement from the crowd. Let's take a look at everyone's score. Bowler at the line.
There we go. Ooh, not quite enough.
Leaves the 6-pin.
Will it show me? Will it show it again? No. Let's do 14 still.
The medium ball weight mixes pin action and precision. He's getting some encouragement from the crowd, looking for the clean game.
Perfect. See, you could tell by the way it was going to hit that it's going to be a strike, and it's like that in real bowling too.
Killer! What a great shot!
So I was just to the left, and it's going this way. So the ball is going to hit all these, and it's going to push all those pins that way as you go. And hit the other one.
We're at the 9th frame. He's playing it real safe, not too fast.
Not enough of a curve. So see, I hit it on the right side that time, but it screws y'all up. And now I've got a split. There ain't no way. Now if you can get it to curve and hit that, it's possible.
Get you a handful, son.
So I threw it too fast, so it didn't curve as much. In real life, you wouldn't do that as much because in real life, you're going to throw it about the same speed each time. You know, but on a game, you're hitting the ball, it just does different stuff.
Oh, he gave a smooth delivery on that one. 8 down, 2 up. Splits can be very tough to pick up.
Yep. So I'm not I'm not an expert. I think the only way to do this is to hit the 4 so hard that it bounces off the left wall and then hits the 10. when it spins back around, which I don't even think I can do. I'm going to try to like throw it diagonally. I don't even know if I can do that either. Nope. If I would have just barely hit it on the side, it may have knocked it so hard to the left that it hit the wall and hit the other one. Real tough though. Final frame.
Strike now to offset that last open frame. Big curve, lots of action.
Nope, not enough.
He ends up with a wrap.
Uh-oh, gutter ball.
And you almost pulled 130.
So I got a pair. That's all I got. But Donnie got a lot more cards, so he'll be able to beat that.
This curve should give you
Too much speed. If it would have been a little bit slower, it would have curved back before it got to the pin.
Straighter is greater. That will give him the mark. Way to maximize your game.
All right.
Kill shot.
Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit to there. Perfect. No, a little bit to the left. If I would have been a little faster, it would have been all right. So he got 2 pair. So there you go. All right, folks. Cool game.
Player 2 walks away the winner. On behalf of Incredible Technologies and all its staff, I am Randy Peterson saying thanks for playing Silver Strike Bowling.
He's Randy Peterson saying thanks for playing Silver Strike Bowling. And I agree. Yeah, so the in my opinion, the original Silver Strike is actually a better game than the later ones because it has the Vegas bowling mode on it, which is fun as heck. Doesn't really, it's kind of just it doesn't really make any sense to have cards involved with bowling, but it makes it really fun, people. Anytime you can put something in there you can bet on. Look, he came in 14th place and he wasn't even here. God, he's lucky. All right, folks, so there you go. So if you don't have the actual computer, you can use just any case or just use an open frame like we did. Put it on a piece of plywood or something. And you can put a couple jumpers on pins 5 and 6 and pins 9 and 10 on the front audio connector on the motherboard, which will disable the front audio connector and jumper over to the back audio connector. Because there is no front audio connector if you don't have the case. And then you can then plug in your RCA cables to the 3.5 millimeter jack on the back of the motherboard. So that does your audio for the power up to the in-out board. You need to fab up a little cable that can go to that. It's called a Mini Junior ATX plug. It's a 4-pin plug, so you need to get power up to that. And you can see what voltage you need. It's 512 and 2 grounds, but it's in the manual. It shows you what pins what. I had a cable, so I was able to just copy it by looking at the cable. So that means you don't need that special little board. And so why am I trying to do all this? Am I trying to screw over Incredible Technologies? No, I'm just trying to use old parts that we have. So I already had the security dongle and I already had the in-out board, but the computer was gone. So somebody had removed it from the game, probably threw it away or couldn't fix it or sold it on eBay or something. So if you end up where you don't have that freaking case, which is the hardest part to get, that specific one, and you don't want to pay to ship it because it would be the heaviest to ship and the most expensive, you don't need it. You can work around it. So that's what we did. But you do need the in-out board and you do need the security dongle, or else it will not work. Nobody has cracked it or anything. You have to have that or it won't work. But there's tons of them around used. So we fixed this thing up. It's in the cool blue dedicated cabinet. And we're going to send this out to somebody's game room. Somebody will be really happy with it. And I hope they enjoy their little game. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think about the special Vegas mode of Silver Strike Bowling. Give us a thumbs up. for filming it for you. Check out my brother Donnie's channel since he beat me on bowling. Links down below. And there will be a link down below to our Amazon page. If you click that link, it takes you to Amazon, just their main page, right? Now, why are we doing that? Well, if you buy anything on Amazon, and it's nothing in specific that we're suggesting or anything, just go to click that link before you go to Amazon to buy whatever you were going to buy on Amazon in the first place. When you do that, it gives us a piece of their profit. Can you believe that? Amazon, the way they do marketing is they pay their associates to send them traffic. And they don't pay anybody unless they actually get sent there from somebody. But what that does is it gives us the opportunity to send you to Amazon and make a affiliate royalty from it. So people have been buying all kinds of cool stuff on there. We appreciate that. Lots of computer parts. People have been buying a lot of stuff for their house. Had a guy buy a bunch of bicycle stuff the other day, like complete full-size tires. Apparently right now it's hard to buy a bicycle. Everybody's on a health kick, which is great. So it's hard to get a bike. So somebody bought a whole bunch of bike tires and stuff like that. But we appreciate that. All the people that have been doing that, thank you very much. Keep it up. We're not going to do a Patreon or anything. We don't want you to send us your money because you worked hard for your money and you don't need to waste it on silly little videos like this. They're for free. And if it's for free, it's for me. Everybody knows that. So click the link down below before you buy anything on Amazon. That really helps us out. And thank you to all the people that have been doing it. Leave your comments below. Give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. And we will see you on the next video. Hope you enjoyed Silver Strike Bowling.